Test, test, test. Is there any sound?
Yeah, just give you another call. Like, he's supposed to set the class up.
Yeah. Can anyone hear me? If you can hear me, press 1. If you cannot hear me, let me know. If you can hear me and see me, if you can hear me and see me, press 1. If you cannot hear me and see me, let me know. All right? It's Tawab now, he said. All right, so it's Tawab now. All right. So again, this last one, Quda's class, talking to myself, police officer, 5,000 a month, covering the class for police officer, 5,000 Marah. Questions pertaining to the last one, Qudash. Any questions, let me know. Any questions, let me know. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. All right, 1. I appreciate it. I appreciate help you guys. All right, we're good to go now. All right, Isupk Philadelphia, last one for Dash, Holy Tongue class. As I stated before, you know, the so-called Native Americans here in North, South, and Central America were speaking a form of Hebrew, not bastardized, but a dialect of Hebrew. We had different dialects in our land in Israel. And when they went to the Assyrian captivity, we began to merge our Holy Tongue, our language, with the Assyrian, which is where you get the Assyrian script from. The Assyrian script, the Assyrian the language that came out of it, the form of Hebrew that came out of it was a lingua franca. All right, it's a bridge language, bridging the Lashon Kodash, the Hebrew we spoke with the Aramaic and the Assyrian languages, merging it together so that we could trade, much like English is the language of trade today. If you want to trade, if you want to make money in this world, you need to know some English. All right, and then the same was the case for the Aramaic or the Assyrian languages as well. The Native Americans, so-called Native Americans, spoke a form of Hebrew. Okay, they spoke Hebrew and they're over here. All right, if there's time, I can show you maybe like 1 or 2 names that are obviously Hebrew names. Okay, but nonetheless, I'm going to get into it. Can you turn this to the board? I'm going to write on the board for the most part. But
So like they said, they had the last names and some of the first names of Yahushua, like, in their names, some of them.
yeah, Yah, they have Yah, their name at the end, just like many of the brothers in the scripture. That's absolutely correct. All right, so if you have any questions, type your questions in pertaining to the lost one for God. We'll answer them. All right, we're good here. So first, we're gonna just write through the alphabet quickly. All right, we'll do that quick. We got God, Sage in Hebrew, Ba, God, Da, Ma, Za, Ka, Gata, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, is that correct? All right. As you can see, we can make a whole class out of this too, just how similar the logical Kodash is even to our modern language of English. You take the right, and you rotate it counterclockwise 90 degrees, and you have the A, right? Or the alpha in the Greek. Right? You take a ton of letters. Really, you take this, they changed it, they called it made a dawab. You give them a point, some other ones. The I, their letter O is R-I. You give them a point, the Shah, all right, which comes from the shun, or the breast. Point, that's a symbol of the 2 breasts, all right? You got the Wa, the W, which they call it a W. You get my point, all right? The Tha, all right? There's a Greek letter called theta, all right? But nonetheless, this is similar to the modern day X. Yeah. Okay. So the so-called European spoke biblical Hebrew at the time of Rebecca, and Isaac. You get my point. They had this language here, and over time they began to bastardize it and add in their own letters and symbols for it.
Yeah, every nation did.
Absolutely. Every nation has this language. This is the language. This was the language of the earth that in its day it's going to be as well. Like da, wa, za, ka, right, ta. All right. Yeah, ta, ya, ka is a final. So right here, ka, la, ma, okay. Final ma, final ma, sa, right? Yeah, sa, and then the I think there's a final I as well, right? So pa, final pa, taza, and then final taza, right? Is that correct? Yeah. No, I'll go to another way. Trying to do it as well, perfectly close to as tight as or hand as possible. Qua, ra, sha, fa. All right. So the ancient Hebrew, the Assyrian Hebrew. All right, there. This is the original script. All right. When you look at I think the Dead Sea Scrolls were in Assyria, right? To my memory. But if you look at you find the earlier versions of the Hebrew text or writing or things like that, you'll see this script, all right? Something like it. They found coins, I believe, from the time of Ezra, all right? I don't have the information to bring out in this class. But they found coins from way back in the day, all right? And it had this script here. So if you need to write down the alphabet, just pause the video when you get a chance. And you can take it down. You can email Isupk realleaders@hotmail.com, or you can contact the camp leader in your city for the Hebrew materials. All right. We're going to write down, this is Zephaniah 3 and 9. We're going to write down Zephaniah 3 and 9 in the Syrian and in the ancient, and then in the Syrian. This is Zephaniah 3. Zephaniah 3:9, or in the Hebrew, it's I'll write it out phonetically in the Hebrew, Tazapanya. Tazapanya 3 and 9. It would be Tazapanya Shalash Shah, right? Yeah. So 3. Yeah, so we Tazapanya Shalash wa Fashah. All right, in Hebrew. Tazapanya, sorry, is that H in the end? All right. And I'll get the meaning of the word Zephaniah too in a second. But it's Tazapanya in the Hebrew. All right. So this is Zephaniah 3 and 9 in the ancient Hebrew, okay? So we got to Kaya 4. Okay. Kaya Az. Four. And if you can't see on the board, just let me know, all right? If you cannot see this on the board, let me know. Okay? Or then Bach is I turn. Okay. Owl is unto. All right. Go over here. So it's I'm yum. people. Or the people. Let's go people. All right. People, it's person, plural, which is people. I, him. I am to be like person. I, him is people. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. Shapa. Shapa, which is language or lit. Oh, yeah, so lit or language. All right. If you go into other languages, like you study Portuguese or Spanish, the words for language in Portuguese and Spanish are lingua and lengua, respectively. Those words also mean tongue. Okay, the word for language is tongue. Why? Because one of the main muscle groups, one of the main body parts you're using in speech, outside of your brain, is your tongue. All right, you cut somebody's tongue out, they can't talk. You get my point? So the tongue is intricate language. The word for language is shapa, which is lip or tongue, and it's also, of course, lashawan, which means tongue, properly. Okay, so shapa, all right. Or I know. All right, so this would be like pure. I think it's aura. All right, which would be like it would be pure. Okay. The wa is in the middle here because it's like it's used to like, okay, it's placed there as a not placed there as a verb, but it's placed there just to let you know that this is from the root barar. The root is barar, but it's barwara because it's like it's adjective. So when you see these words like used to describe something, what they'll do is they'll take the root, right, and break it down for you real quick, right? So we got barwara, right? The root is barar. The root is barar, like to purify, or cleanse something. This is the root verb, okay? Now, when they're using it as a describe as an adjective, a word that describes something, you're going to see these was here in the middle, or even a ya. The way you put a ya in the middle of the word sometimes. All right, and they'll put a ha at the end. This, especially this verb in the middle, means it's an adjective. It's a describing word. It's no longer a verb. It isn't an action. This is the action right here, to purify. This is the action. This is not an action. This is describing this. You get my point? This is the object. The object's the language, the subject, right? This is describing the subject. So we have an adjective, a describing word. What is it describing? Let's go back in time, and it's describing the language. This is not a verb. Why do I say that? Shalom and shalom are two words that are highly controversial. Shalom is not a verb. It's not an action. When you're saying shalom to somebody, you're saying peace to them, not peacefulness or whatever else that word is used for. So the correct word in stating it to someone in a greeting or something like that, or wanting peace to someone, will be shalom, because the shalom is the root. The shalom is the root, which means to make peace, or to have peace, or peace in the sense of the action. Yeah, shalom. Shalom alaykum would be peace be unto you. Okay. Shalom alaykum would be peace unto you. But in Arabic, they say shalom assalamu alaikum. Alaykum in the Arabic, alaykum in the Hebrew. I write that down too. So this is important, right? Because you have the wa and the ha at the end, signifying, showing you this is an adjective. All right, don't get confused. All right, but the root is to purify. Can I take a picture of that? You want me to put that back?
Yeah, because I don't want to take a picture. If you don't mind the water.
That's fine. Good.
If I could you like slide a little bit? Because I can't see the, don't worry about it. Done. Wow. Appreciate it. All right, go on.
All right. So that's pure. La, wa, oops. Ra, to call. The la as a prefix means to. All right, to call. All right, the here as a prefix means I. All right, anya, I am. Right, aparium, I am fruitful. Halak. The root is halak, which means to turn. I turn. Okay, the root is para, which is call. La, to call. Okay, to call. Call what? Kalam. Grab 1 second. So that's Kalam. Lashon. It will be in name or name, yeah, in name. All right. We're going to get back to this word in 1 second. So, Hashem, and then Yahweh, which is the Lord's name. All right, Yahweh, the Lord. Right. Ibadwa. To serve him. All right. La to, I bow to serve. Why is his or him. At the end, the why at the end, connected in that form means his or him. Okay. Shakam. Akad. Consent. Shakam. 1. So you see the sentence structure in Hebrew, how it's different from the English. That's Tazapanya, Shalashra Shai, Ba Lashon Kodash. Zephaniah 3 and 9 in ancient Hebrew, in the pure holy tongue. All right? Zoom in on the chat. Okay. All right. So let me get to that word, kalam. Give me 1 second. It'll be like a pun, okay? Yeah. Like a pun, okay? In that verse specifically. That would be kalam, okay? Like a pun. Okay? So literally it would be like, for them, I turn unto people the pure lip, the lip pure, to call upon in me the Lord to serve him consent one. That's literally how you should say it. All right. So essentially, what he's saying here is then he's going to turn us to pure language. So upon him in name, the Lord will serve him. You get my point? Meaning this, we're going to call on the Most High in His true name. His true name is Yahweh. Now you got cats. Some cats saying He's Allah. Some cats saying He's God. Under the Christian religion, under the Muslim religion, we're not serving Him. We're not going to serve Him with one consent. One cat's going to believe he's got to fast during the day and during October, September, whatever, during the month of Ramadan. Another cat's going to believe that he's going to go to church on Sunday and he's already saved. You get my point? But if we all know his name is Yahweh, we all know his true name, then there is no confusing the Most High. None. Right. Because he's the God of the Bible, the power that those scriptures there. And this is his name. And his culture then, his name is a Hebrew name. His culture is a Hebrew culture, if you will. His name is Lashon Kodash. His people must be Kodash, or pure, set apart, separate. Okay? So this is Zephaniah 3 and 9 in the ancient Hebrew. I'm going to leave it up here for a few more seconds, but everyone should have been following along with me. If you're watching this live, when the class is over, you can go back and check out these different whiteboards, whiteboard drawings and writings that I'm doing. You can pause it at a specific time. You can write it, copy it down yourself, all right? I'm going to leave it up about 10 more seconds just to keep the class flowing. If there are any questions online pertaining to the Hebrew, let me know. All right, this is Zephaniah, Tazakan, Yeshalash, Wakashai, Ba, okay? All right, bear with me 1 second. No questions? Let's see if we can we move the chair a little bit closer? It's hard to see. Okay.
You want to hold the camera too? Come. Slide it with your hand. Slide. Hold the camera and then slide it. Come. Yeah. So.
All right, so matter of fact, we're going to write this in we're going to write this in Syrian as well, all right? All right, you can check out the Assyrian on your own. All right, just with the Assyrian, you don't need to write it with the diacritical, the marks, so that in the cud, and the vocalization of verbs that they're putting in the dots and stuff like that. You don't need to write when you're writing your Assyrian, all right? But you can go to Zephaniah 3 and 9 in the Hebrew to get the understanding of it in the Assyrian as well. But I'm going to erase this. I'm going to write out Deuteronomy 10 and 17. If we have time at the end, I can go back over those verses in the Assyrian for you, all right? But first, we're going to write it out in the Lashon Kodash, all right?
Just trying to get the school post.
All right, this is Deuteronomy 10 and 17. Debarium. All right, Aishara, Wa, Shabai Aishar, Shabai Aishara. Okay. Deuteronomy 10 and 17. Devarim Aishra, Washmai Aishra. 10 and 7, 10. 10 and 17. All right. So we got Kaya, Yahweh. Al-Haytham. All right, it's your power, God, the one you call God. God, I just put God in quotations because God is one of the five mistranslations in the King James Version. King James Version is absolutely correct in that it's translated from the original tongues, but it does have not mistranslations, but five translations with Christian dogma. The word God comes from Christian dogma, and that it's like the Greek gods, Egyptian gods, and stuff like that. There was one power, authority. His name is Yahweh. Okay, Kaya is for. Yahweh is the Lord. Okay. Al-Haytham, your power. Al-Hayya, power. Come will be yours at the end. Okay. And Hawa'ah, Hebrew is written from right to left. That's why I'm writing it from right to left. All right. So Hawa'ah. Is Hawa'ah. Al-Hayya. Hayya, power. Al-Hayya, powers. Al-Hayya means the powers, literally. Power the powers. He is power the powers, the power of powers, or God of God. All right. Go ahead. Oh, that's perfect. I appreciate it. Allah, the God of the power. Okay. Allah in Arabic is the name of one of the, I think, 365 gods they had in the Arab pantheon. All right. Before Muhammad developed the Kaaba stone in Mecca, there was a pantheon there. There was essentially a house that had all 365 gods of the Arabs, one god for each day. Muhammad crushed all the other ones and kept the moon god Allah. Okay, Allah here is in Hebrew, ancient Hebrew. It is the name of the power, Ha-Allah. Okay. Ha-Gadol. The great. Okay. Bar. Mighty, the mighty. Or warrior. Wa, right. Sure. Like which? Okay, which? No. Gotcha. Regarded. Yeah, regarded. Say regards. Regards is just regarded for semantic English, all right? So, Panya would be persons. Right. And all right, I'm gonna have to write the last word. All right, after I want to chase it down. Take it. Takes or take it. All right, that's what it takes there. The same thing. So the breakdown for most of the verse here is cry out before the Lord. Your power is power of the powers. He's the power of the powers. The power, the great. He's the power of the great, the mighty warrior. All right. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't give you the word for this. Hold on one second. There's 1 second. Terrible. And what's terrible? right, so this Wahana Ra is and the Nara terrible, describing who? We need to go back up here a little bit. Most High. Okay? This is another adjective where you see the wa here in the middle, showing you this is an adjective, and the ah at the end. All right? Excuse me. The wa here in the middle, again, showing you that this is an adjective. This is not a verb. All right? It's not to be terrible. This is the terrible. What kind of a power is he? He's a power of powers. He's the great. He's mighty. He's a warrior. He's terrible. He brings terror to his enemies. Terrorism, death, destruction, fire, tornadoes, and COVID-19. Okay? Which, shar, this is shar. You're going to see this word a lot in the Bible. Shar is like which, to say, or command, things like that. A shar, or it even means happy. All right, the name of a tribe. All right, which no regards persons and no takes a reward. I'll write reward down for you. All right. Again, if you need this written down, you can wait till you can watch the class again. You can pause it, these screens here, and just copy it down. Okay. But
I have a question. But before I ask my question, I have a statement. The tradition of school, if anybody want to participate in the class, they can say their alphabet first.
okay, say the alphabet.
Abagada Hawazaka, Tayaka, Lamana Sa'ai, Hatizak Barashaka.
Good. All right.
My question is on Ha Wa'a.
Yeah.
Can it also be used for he is?
Yeah. So here, okay, here, let me, because haya I, she is, right? Yeah, so let me be thorough here. Thank you for pointing that out. It would be is, because we know the topic here is masculine because we're talking to the Most High. But to be thorough here, it would be he is. He is. Yeah, hawa I is a masculine form of to be. You understand? Haya is a feminine form.
It's a masculine? What?
Hawa is masculine, haya is feminine.
Oh, you talking about the high at the end is the woman?
No. I'm not talking about the I at the end. I'm talking about this word.
No, I'm saying high, like the high.
High at the end doesn't make something feminine, but this word is the I at the end.
Masculine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this word's masculine.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's a high at the end.
Right.
Would be feminine.
Right. So this is he is, all right? So I'm gonna erase that. You all can get that, pause the video or watch it again.
So what?
I am on it.
So
No, don't worry about it. All right. The last word is reward. All right, which is shakai. He doesn't take rewards in the sense of bribe. I'm going to look that word up now. Shakai. Yeah, it's gift or bribe. In this sense, it will be bribe in this sense. Okay? Because here you're trying to reward him, give him a reward that's going to stop him from being a terrible power. You get my point? It's like if somebody has a judgment, he's a judge, he's got his judgment, right? You come to him with a wad of cash. Hey, can you get me off for this? You know what I mean? I know I'm guilty. Can you get me off? That would be a bribe. You get my point? It wouldn't be a gift or a reward. Gift or reward is given for some good deed or some act, or out of care and compassion or kindness or something, or love for something. You get my point? Affection or intimacy. All right. A bribe is something that this verse is talking about. I mean, he's not taking any person. He's not taking any face, which is panya, face. He's not taking any bribe either. Okay. He's the mighty, terrible power. That's who he is. And he's not taking it for anybody. Okay. That's it. Again, you can pause it and get back to it when you need to. I'm going to go to verse 18 now. So instead of Shabbai, it's Shamawana. All right, Deuteronomy 10:18. Devarim Yisrael Shemawana Yisrael. All right. Aisha. Aisha does, executes. Why is it he? Because the subject was discussed in the previous verse, the subject being the Most High. So he judgment. Shabbat, judgment or things pertaining to justice. That's what that literally means. Okay? Because you have a ma here, the prefix, the ma is telling you whatever is coming after. In this sense, right? Ma is of and from, right? So the ma here before the verb shabbat tells you this is of or pertaining to justice. Of or pertaining to judging. What is of or pertaining to a judge? Judgment. He hands down sentences. That's what the Lord hands out. He executes sentences. He executes judgment. And COVID-19 is an execution of judgment. Okay. The economic fallout is an execution of judgment. Aisha Mashapat. That's why COVID-19 is here. Aisha Mashapat. That's why the economy is terrible. Aisha Mashapat. That's why the slave master, the devil, so-called Caucasian, is falling. Okay, falling to a heroin opioid epidemic. Why? Because Aisha Mashapat. He executes judgment. Who is the he? The Lord. It's in verse 17. Okay, the Most High is the subject of these verses. Okay, and these verses are very important because it tells you the characteristics of the Most High early on in the Bible, in the Scriptures. Early on. Okay, God is love, right? He is love. That's in Peter. But you need to understand what love is. Love is terror. Love is bringing terror. You can sometimes. Right. You love somebody and somebody's hurting them. What are you gonna bring hugs and kisses to them? No, you're gonna bring fire and brimstone to them. You're gonna bring weapons to them. You're gonna bring terror to them. Okay? You're gonna harm somebody that tries to hurt the children, the people you love. And it's right to do that. It's self-defense. Well, the Most High is just the same thing. He is love, but he's a terrible power. And he's mighty. Okay? He's stronger than Harvard. He's stronger than MIT. He's stronger than the Navy and the CIA and the Air Force and the Space Force. He's mighty and he's terrible. Okay? And he's great. This is the Most High. These scriptures, these verses are the characteristics of the one you call God. Okay? He executes judgment. He does execute judgment. Okay? Against sinners and against the other nations for the crimes they commit against his children. Okay? This is who the Most High is. Deuteronomy 10:17. You can go on down to 19. Okay? You want to see his love? Go check out when he split the Red Sea, when he drowned an entire army. That's love. Okay? John 1. All right? So, fatherless. Orphan. Fatherless, but it's literally talking about an orphan. Someone doesn't have, parents. If you didn't have a father, you were dead. You were in ancient times. Let me help you out with something, right? In ancient times, if you didn't have a father, you were dead. No, you were an orphan. Meaning you didn't have a family. In ancient times, there was no WIC, the food stamps, or social services. So if you didn't have a man, you starved to death. That's why the widow is all through the scriptures, right? That's why in what was that, Kings? Remember that with Elisha? Elisha went to the widow's house. What was the widow? What was she doing? Was she thriving with cans of Similac and 2% milk in the crib and government cheese? No, she's about to starve to death. Why? Because she was a widow. Her husband was dead. Your husband died in ancient world. That was it. And guess what? With COVID-19 with America, the world's going back to that. If you don't have a man around, you don't have a man you can pick up a phone and call, you're going to be dead out here. Women and children, straight up and down. The world, world leaders are going authoritarian. Everybody's turning into a dictator now. Jair Bolsonaro, his government is trying to run an investigation against him. His Supreme Court. He's saying, hell no. I have the back of the military. Meaning what? You try to investigate me, I'll have your head rolling through the streets of Brazil. I'll kick it around like a soccer ball. That's what he's saying. He said, I have the back of the military. What does the military do? Plant roses and change diapers? No, they kill. Okay, and they defend. That's what they do. They're ready to defend the president. You got the second Hitler over there in Hungary, right? I forget his name. And Belarus, Russia's backing them. They full out fascists. You know, old Nazis and all that. They full out fascists, just like the Nazis and Mussolini. Everybody's going authoritarian dictatorship. Do what the hell I say. So if you don't have somebody in your life that's an authority, you're gonna die. That's just how it's gonna go. Okay? Why? Yafa fatherless, orphan. You don't have a man around. Listen, it's going to be very, very horrible. Times is getting hard. Proud Boys is about to be let loose. You can forget about the winter if Donald Trump loses the election. If he loses the election, forget about it. Okay, Proud Boys is going to be running them up. And if Joe Biden loses the election, then the freaks and perverts and abortionists are going to be running through the streets, lighting the streets on fire. Okay, life on Earth just got serious. Okay, life on Earth got serious. I'm going on a tangent, but this is all the breakdown. This word right here is important. And you fatherless is also this word for fatherless also means orphan. You don't have a father. It's damn near like you don't even have a family. Okay, which is heavy. When you grow up without a father, it's like you're missing something that you can only get. Here in the Isupk with father figures, spiritual fathers. You get my point? Men that teach you and guide you as a father would lead a son, but in spirit. Meaning this, I didn't physically produce you or issue you. You get my point? But I guide you and teach you and tell you the things that need to be done to be a man, just like a father would. You get my point? And that's what we provide here. I mean, look at that. Fatherless and an orphan. Okay? And in the second, like the Bible says, Isaiah 4:1, you don't have a man around, you're going to be ashamed. Okay, you're going to be something that's just a rag that's going to get used for a bowl of beans. Okay, and you can think America's not going to get to that level. Okay, the Real Housewives, the era of the Real Housewives, the era of I don't even know why they're making rap music. Megan Thee Stallion, she should pack up because that life is that stuff is over. You're going to get with a man with 6 to 10 figures. That life is over, okay? In a second, you're going to be worrying about where you're going to get the next cup of water from, okay? In a second, it's going to be, who do I have to sleep with, okay, to get a piece of potato bread and a molded hot dog, okay, and one potato. That's what life's going to turn to, okay, if we don't have the proper protection. That was a long-winded breakdown of the word "yafah." All right, it's important. Okay, I went off on a little diatribe there, but nonetheless, all these things are important, and like knowing this language is important. I wouldn't have made that connection. That is that deep. That fathers in the house are that necessary. Biblically, if you didn't have a father, you were on the wayside. Okay, today we think of it like it's normal. He's not with his father, with his mom. They divorced, they're not together. We think it's normal, okay? And it's not normal. It's like being an orphan, okay? Right? This is feminine. Remember this? She got to put on the ha at the end. This is feminine. Okay? And widow. Wives and widow. A widow is a woman that doesn't have a husband. Husband passed away, or in today's case, the man ghosted, left on her. Okay, smashed and dashed. Hit it and quit. He whined, he dined and dashed. Okay, that's a widow. Okay, and that's another thing that's very, very grave and very serious. And it's a sad state to be in. Okay, you don't have to remarry, but it's important, and it will be life saving to have men that you can depend on. Okay, for a man you can depend on. All right. Wahab and love. It would be like and loves. Okay. Guard. Stranger. Okay, stranger in the sense of he's not native born. You know what I'm pointing? Meaning this is somebody that you see in the land, but he's not from Benjamin. He's not from Judah. Okay, a stranger is not always somebody that's from another race. We'll get that as well in the scriptures. The Exodus 12 and 19 is a perfect precept. Okay, native born or born in the land, meaning this. Amongst the congregation of Israel, which is the Israelites, you had those that were native born and those that were born in another land, or born from that land. You had Israelites scattered. That's a curse. Okay, so you had Israelites that were put and placed in different lands. Today you call them strangers. Right now there's Judites over in Vietnam. They come over here, they look half Vietnamese, talking the the Muk Chuk and Mung Ling language. Okay, their grandfather was Vietnam veteran, so-called Negro. Boy, they were for sure being strangers. Some people, the Negroes in Japan, in the house, they sit with their feet folded, like the Ammonites do it, with the feet folded. They have a table on the ground. They sit down and eat with their hands, just like Ammon does it. They so-called black fathers. They're strangers. Okay, it'd be strange and odd as hell. They look at us in these chairs like, what the hell? We look at them on the floor like, man, get up off the floor with your legs folded like that, and that little origami table. Okay, that paper mache table. All right, they would be strangers. All right, guard. Okay, so a stranger just means one not born in the land. All right. So a thought. Give. Lawa to him. Come, which is food, or bread. Food. I put bread on the table. Bread is a catch-all phrase for food. Come. Bread. Why? La. Okay. Raiment. This would literally be like your outer garment, like the garments you wear at camp, or like a coat, overcoat, or a cloak, or a trench coat. That's what the shamalah will be. It's the outer garment, okay, which is what you need to stay warm and keep yourself dry in the rain and things like that. All right. So I'm gonna leave this up here for a few seconds. I'm gonna check with Facebook. Anyone has any questions? Type the questions in, and we'll answer them. Nobody's fluent yet that I know of, so we all should have questions that we need answers to. Right? I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 10 and 19 as well. All right. Last but not least, I'm going to go back over these in the Syrian, all right? The Syrian should be a lot quicker. So he executes judgment, fatherless, orphan, and widow, and love stranger, give to him bread and food, bread and food and clothes. Okay? That's the Most High does. All right? What does the slave master do? In the midst of COVID-19, he's ready to kick you out of that damn house. You know how many eviction notices they have in America? It is ridiculous. As soon as they lift the restrictions on COVID-19, you're going to see millions of people kicked to the curb in this country. Okay? They claim to say a God we trust, but they don't give a poor or a widow and a single damn thing. You're a widow, you don't have a husband, you left to fend for yourself. You're fatherless, you're an orphan, you mostly left to fend for yourself. In Brazil, forget about them. Orphan kids run the streets because they don't have social service programs. So those little orphan kids run the streets and get raped and killed by cops, and all kinds of stuff happens to them. Okay? This nation, these empires have nothing to do with the Most High. These empires are satanic. Okay? They're satanic, and the empires of oppression. The Most High, he gives the orphan, the fatherless, the poor, the stranger, food and raiment, food and clothes. Excuse me, food and clothes. So look at Deuteronomy. So Deuteronomy 10 and 17 through 18 is what the Most High is, his characteristics. 10 and 19 is what he does. So he's shy. All right. As a matter of fact, 10 and 19 is the law. Sorry. Deuteronomy 10 and 19, Devarim Asherah, Walk the Shai Asherah. Okay. Like, love you all. When I say love you all, I mean like you all love. You get my point? So and love you all, and you all love. All right. Would be like therefore or certainly. Hagar, stranger. Stranger. Okay. Kaya. Or young. Strangers. Like ye were. Baltazar. Baltazaria. Egypt. So this verse would literally be, and love you all, therefore, and love you all, certainly love you all, the stranger. Certainly you all love strangers. For strangers you were in land Egypt. You get my point? It's simple, right? It's a simple language. Okay? Leave this up here for a few seconds. I'm going to break down strangers versus native. Strangers and native for you real quick. Again, if you can hear me and see me, press 1. I'm going to check the feed. So go ahead.
Can I also mean you?
You ask also Murad next week. I thought it's you. I thought it's you. If you're asking that, okay, no, off is not you. I thought it's you. Off is something different. Like it would be like certainly or therefore. It's like certifying something happened. Get my point. There really, in reality, there is no like translation for off. When you see like therefore in this verse is translated from the off. That's what it is approximately, right? Eric Monti, no problem. No problem. It just takes, it's like learning any language, it just takes you to immerse yourself. That's all you have to do. Immersion. Practice speaking it, writing it, etc. All right, and reading it as well. You still need it? I'm finished. Finished? All right, so I'm going to break down stranger versus stranger and native real quick. All right. As we know, the word gar is stranger. Stranger. Equals gar. Gar equals gar. Syrian, ancient, phonetic, English. Phonetic is writing the Hebrew as it's pronounced. This is how it's pronounced. It's pronounced gar. I'm writing it in English letters so you can pronounce it. This is gar. This is gar. All right, stranger, gar. Isupk is native. Okay. Okay, Isupk native. All right, give me Exodus 12 and 19. All right.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 19.
Go ahead.
7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whatsoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel.
If you ate something that had a leavening agent in it, baking soda, baking powder, yeast is the main natural one, etc. Right? If you had some products of that in your home, you consumed some of that, you were cut off. Okay? You're kicked out of the nation of Israel. Read on.
Okay. Whether he be a stranger,
Whether he be a stranger, go ahead.
or born in the land.
Or what?
Born in the land.
Or not an Israelite?
Born in the land.
Or an Israelite.
Born in the land.
Or born in the land. Whether he's an outsider, a foreigner, or a native. You get my point? Now, listen, I'm foreign. I'm a foreigner to the nation of Israel, to the so-called Middle East. Does that mean that's not my homeland? No, that is my homeland. That's our homeland. So-called black, so-called Latino, so-called Native Americans. But I'm a stranger to that land. Okay, but does that mean I'm not an Israelite? No, that's not what that means. And because the fake Jew lives in Israel, does that make him a native Israelite? No. The one that's born in the land is just talking about those that are born in Israel proper and those that are not. Okay, you have Ruth, who was born in the land of Moab, but she was a Judite. Okay, a lot of people mix that up. How can she be Chinese and related to Boaz? Okay, how can she be Chinese and related to a man from the line of Christ, of Yahushua, of whom it is evident he sprang from Judah? Okay, stay awake, all right? Yes. So the stranger is talking about one born outside of Israel. The native is someone born in Israel. The word stranger is not a race, so you understand. It just means someone that's not physically from either that tribe, that city, or that nation, that country. Okay, but this scripture should show you that strangers sometimes are Israelites. In many cases, they are Israelites. All right, you got it? Okay. All right, can you you can put it back towards me, and then I'm gonna share the screen. I'm gonna upload the screen. Second. All right, so I'm gonna go through one of these verses here in the Assyrian. What you can do is you can press a button here to take away the vowel points, which are non-existent. When you look up the original scrolls, the original scrolls, the oldest scrolls found in the Qumran cave, that Yiddish crack was in there. All right. All right, so this is Deuteronomy, the Memorial, Deuteronomy 10 and 17. All right, and it reads,
can I read some Hebrew?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can read it? Or?
Go ahead. You can go back. Okay.
Kaya, Yahweh, Hasayikam, Hawa, Halahaya, Hahala, Hahala, Hahalahayam, Wa'adanya, Wa'adanya, Ha'ada, Ha'ad, Ha'ad, Ganayam, Wa'al, Hagadal, Hagadal, Hagabar, Wahana, Wara'a, Ashar, Ba'a, Yashan, Hanyam, is that Hanyam? Hanyam, Wala, is that Wala or Wala'a? Wala'a. So those are the La'as connected.
Yeah. No, we allow like, no.
And no? Yeah. Okay. Wala'a, Ta, Shachad. That's Shachad, right?
Chicago. Amen. Wow.
Okay. Four is this. Are you on mute?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that's Deuteronomy 10:17. Like I said before, I'm just reading it out for you so you can get it. You can listen and hear how Hebrew we read. Kaya Yahweh, Hayakam, Ha'ah, 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 Ha'adanya, Ha'adanyam, Ha'al, Ha'adal, Ha'adabar, Wa'ah, Ra'ah, Ashar La'ah, Yasha'ah, Panyam, Wala'ah, Yifrach, Shekah. That's how you read it. That's not fluent, but that's how it will be read. All right. Are there any questions in the room? No questions in the room? No. All right. So that being said, when you go, you can write the alphabet. We'll just write the alphabet real quick for Kokan, right? About Kokan. And when you're done writing it, just in the ancient, you can turn the camera towards Kokan, towards the board. Second, do we say alphabet? You can say it once he writes it. I turn the board towards you. Kokan. All right, so also you're not quite you can read the board.
Bagada, Abagada, Ha, Wa, Sa, Ha, Ta, Ya, Kala, Mana, Sa, I, Ha, Za, Kwa, Ra, Shaka.
Amen. Exactly. So, you're gonna go up to the board now. You're gonna write down something Hebrew. All right, come raise the board.
Okay.
You're gonna write peace be unto you at the top.
Okay.
And then you're gonna write hold on. Yeah, it's from John. You can type in, write down John 20 and 26.
John 20, 26 compound.
This is the specific peace be unto you that I'm referring to, but it's really any peace be unto you within the Bible. All right, peace be unto you is shalom. You can write this out phonetically. You know, English letters, shalom. How you come? How you come? So, the all, write the all A's now. It's not
Okay. So I thought it was just shalom. It was like peace be on you, but that's just I said singular.
Yeah, shalom is peace to you, but I'm writing like Yahushua, when he came in, he was with the disciples. Remember when he came back on here, he came back as a disciple before he went out the chariot.
Are you talking about when Thomas was saying he wanted to see his hands?
Yeah, like he'll show us his shoes. go to John. Yeah, go to John 26. Like, man, you were dead. Yeah, man. They were spooked. They were, scared. John 20, 26.
Okay. This is the book of John, chapter 20, verse 26. And after 8 days, again, his disciples were within, and Thomas with them. Then came Jesus, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst, and said, Peace be unto you.
He stood in the midst and said, Peace be unto you. Okay? So he was with the disciples, it's plural. Okay? Shalom Aleichem. You can write next to peace be unto you, John 20, 26. Shalom Aleichem. Write it in the ancient. Go good, right? Shalom Aleichem. Excellent. All right? It's literally peace unto the owls, unto you come be like you. Okay? Again, I have to you begin with Officer Ross, but why the Yah is in the middle there, I can't remember. Remember Officer Eisenhower put this down maybe about a year, 2 years ago, in Harlem, headquarters right out in the breakdown from. All right? Then you're going to write it out in the Assyrian, okay?
Co-counsel.
All right. Shalom. Try and fix the law a little bit.
Co-counsel.
Which one? The law. Well, both of them actually, yeah.
Co-counsel.
Yeah, like your laws, it's just that nuance, I mean, to me, it looks, because, well, at that point, it looks kind of like a law. It's not a big deal, you know, the law right here, see, it's right there, the handle, so you can just draw a little like that. So it's a hook, and then it bends in and comes straight out. Work properly, do something like that, that'd be a better one. Okay, we're gonna draw, that's the law, right?
Co-counsel.
Perfect. Shalom Aleichem. Okay. All right. Do we have any questions in the room?
So, this thing is switched back to the board.
Say again.
This thing is switched back to the board.
I can't hear you loud.
This thing is switched back to the board yet?
It is back on board, yeah. The camera's pointing facing the board. All right.
Okay, the board can see it, but,
We check to see if there's any questions. Are there any questions? All three on the floor? You should be able to see the comments on the right.
See that? You see something going? I don't see anything.
Second.
It's nothing.
No questions. All right. Any questions in the room?
Lots.
All right. Write down Bruce on the board.
Roof, sir?
Yeah. Keep it on. Keep it on the board.
Yeah, let's see.
Bruce. Go ahead and erase that. Roll off.
Thank you, sir.
Rub, walk. Right out in the Syrian as well. Go ahead. We'll write down curse. You can keep roots up there.
Okay.
Curse. All right. 1 second. Qua la la. Curse. Qua la la. Oh, qua la la. Yeah. Beginning.
Oh, wow.
It's from the root oral, which means to make something a curse or a bomb. All right. Blessing. Baraka. All right. Be a noun. It's like a thing, a feminine noun. Blessing is baraka.
Baraka.
Yeah, it would be blessing. Yeah, that's perfect. Ancient in Assyrian. Blessing means prosperity, but the context is an invocation of some good. You know, like if you bless somebody, you're calling on something good to happen to them. You want something good to happen to them. You give them something good. You get my point? When Jacob said, Jacob blessed his 12 sons, meaning he gave them good things. He invoked good on them. Okay? When you salute someone, you are blessing them. And that you are invoking something good to happen. You're calling on the Most High that you call on the Most High in the name of His Son Yahushua, that He would do something good for you, that He would bless you, He would protect you. All right? He would cause you to prosper. Barakah? No. Barak. One rock.
Oh, one rock.
Barakah. One rock. Yeah. Get rid of the middle one. Change that connector. Yeah, they're still both singularly connected, but yeah, still. Yeah. That's a blessing. Let's get the Most High.
How come?
Because that is the name that in terms of biblical. All right. Aliyawan is the Most High.
Oh,
No,
oh, sorry.
you understand? Aliyawan is the Most High.
Okay.
Most High. I'll you one.
Oh, I. Oh, God.
Al Yuan is the Most High. All right, so Al Yuan, Allah is the Most High God, the Most High power. But yeah, I just write it out in the series. Okay. The ancient Israel. Al Yuan is the Most High. Yeah, Al Yuan. That's the Most High. Al Yuan, Allah, the Most High power. All right. All right, so you can close, you can erase that.
Okay.
You get Melchizedek, M-E-L, M-E-L-C-H-I, Z-E-D-E-K, Z-E-D-E-K. So it's Malakia Tazadah.
Okay.
Malakia, my king, Tazadah, righteousness. My king, righteousness. All right. Melchizedek is the appearance of the one you call Jesus Christ, Yahushua. All right, we know that from the Hebrews 7 chapter. All right. You can also check Psalm where it says, "Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek." Why? Because he's in the spirit of Melchizedek. Malachi tells about.
Two separate words.
Yeah, that's perfect. You write out ancient in the series. Yep. And then the series.
Okay.
There's one error. Let's see if we can find it.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Final copy, yeah. So we got final positions, final ending letters, ending symbols for the series, right? The final copy, right? Yeah. Yeah, longer top part. Top segment, see the top segment? No, the top. The top segment longer. Oh, yeah, make it pronounced. Yep. Boom. Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, that's the top. Malakia Tazadah. My king is righteousness. Melchizedek. You're right next to Melchizedek. My king is righteousness.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the name means.
righteousness.
Preaching.
All right. Kahan, you can write down Kahan, is priest.
Koka.
The word priest is literally one officiating. So we say priest and officer, that is absolutely correct. Because a priest was a chief ruler or a principal officer. We are principal officers here in the ISUK. Okay? All right, Kahan, priest, the one who officiates. All right, priests, we are priests and officers. So we officiate and we are officers. Okay? So that's the word for priest. All right, you can write down officer as well.
Koka.
Officer, Zayan. No. Officer, Zayan. All right, the officer. Okay. 1 second. All right, write Saran. Captain. Perfect, Saran. Give me a second.
Koka.
All right, you erase everything.
Koka.
Write that general.
Koka. Coco.
Allah,
Saki. War Panyami.
Panya would be before me, before my face. Okay? General, my general, my face, literally, the general before me. All right? Allah Panya would be general before me. All right? General on deck. General before me is literally what it would be. All right, so you can erase that.
Coco.
That's try or trial. Bakan, bakan, bakan. Right. Last is Kawar. Kawar, last one.
What does that mean, sir?
Same thing, trial.
Oh,
Kawar. Ka.
Oh, Coco. Hard.
All right. And that's the Hebrew class, last one for Dodge class. All right. That means, so yeah, that's it. That means that's the class. Last one for Dodge class, police officer, 5,000 fun. Hold the class down for the police officer, 5,000 raw. Right. Hopefully you all enjoy the class. You're able to get some knowledge from it. With that being said, I pass the class over to the police officer, John Paul.
Officer on the phone. I'll get a priest. We We have an ISUK starting on 1 West 125th, all of New York. Rules for a brother and sister. When the brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are, it's like they are here. They are to be saluted. They are here to, to share, learn, and share themselves with the word. If they need transportation, teachers will arrange it. After 6 months, if your brother or sister is interested in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the heads to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which brother and sister will get in court. Where the brother and sister will get court each other. After this 6 month period, brother and sister will get permission to marry from the heads. Heads to marry. Tithes, which is the commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 8 through 10 means 10th in Hebrew, my Isupk. All right, 10% of every penny of every increase the Lord gives you. Free will offering. A priest, not mandatory, whatever amount you would like. A holy convocation is the
Piece of dedication. Piece of dedication.
Okay, number 8, the Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah, 25th day of the 9th month, by space of 8 days, Wednesday, December 9th, 2020, for 8 days. Okay? You can check it out in First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 52 to 61. Okay, and anyone wants to be a true student school star, if anybody wants to be a true school star, wearing all black shirt, pants, and a scarf. That being said, I'm macho, which means to stand. Say the Lord's Prayer. Okay, all right, and we're gonna say the Lord's Prayer, and then we're gonna just end it. Okay. All right. All right, so yeah, count. All right, Sar, which means to turn to face the east. And we're gonna say the the prayer in the Hebrew, then we're gonna translate in the Basque tongue. Allow the prayer, okay? Okay, raise your hands. Abanaw, Shabbat Shemayim, Wadash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Balaka, Taba'ah, Watzayaka, Haya, Aisha, Baratiza, Hawa, Haya, Bashemayim, the Thalana, the Ka, Yawah, Wasalat now, Kabawat now, Kasalat now, Kabawat now, Wala'ah, Tabi'ayna, Wanasai one, Above, Ayashayna, Bayan, Rad, Haya, Laka, Kamlakwa, Wala'ah, Amen.
Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh,
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
In earth.
As it is in heaven. Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
Forgive our debtors.
Forgive our debtors.
Lead us not.
Lead us not.
Temptation. Deliver us from evil.
Deliver us from evil.
Thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
The power.
And the power.
The glory.
And the glory.
Forever. So be.
Sorry, Change the time. That, then Israel gonna give one quick salute. Amaju Shabbat. Amaju. Barak. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shak Thumb. Yanas Mata. Bless this.